Welcome to the WJBM Outdoors Show, brought to you by Midwest Tractor Sales in Jerseyville. We're coming to you from the WJBM studios in Jerseyville, the voice of the Tri-Counties. I'm Aaron Quillen. I operate Monarch Rivers, where the mission is simple: kill big deer. Joining us today, Mr. Michael Young, managing broker of Elite Land and Auction. Thanks for being here, Mike.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. So excited about today. Real estate is a huge topic for us outdoors people. We've got a ton to talk about, but before we dive into it, I want to know more about you. You're from West Central Illinois originally?
Correct. Yep. I grew up, we lived in Elsa for a little bit when I was a kid.
Okay.
So down in the Grafton area.
Yeah.
And then moved into Madison County, and we've lived throughout Madison County the rest of my life. So been there. I did a short stint over in Missouri and realized that wasn't for me and I needed to be back in Illinois.
Okay.
So some people it's just the opposite, but for us that worked out that we needed to come back. So we moved back to Madison County, and that's kind of where my roots are at now. So
awesome. Okay. And Elite is big into outdoor recreational agriculture, but hunting is a big staple with Elite. How'd you get into hunting?
Man, hunting in itself, the first memory I have, I can remember sitting with my dad turkey hunting.
Okay.
My dad had zero knowledge of turkey hunting. He had hunted deer a little bit when he was younger, but we were sitting on this little hillside, and I'd never heard a deer blow before. And I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden, the woods just open up with deer blowing left and right, and I'm like, what in the world does that sound? Like I'm expecting to hear turkeys gobbling on the roost, and we're just hearing turkey or deer blow at us. And my dad, he tried to calm me down a little bit, but that is just something that was so vivid still to me that I can hear that. And from there, it kind of grew. We fished a lot of tournaments growing up, and I kind of got burnt out on that.
All
and
right.
I gravitated more towards hunting. It was always something that was just I was passionate about. My grandpa hunted a lot. So we hunted as a family. I can remember shooting my bow on the pitching mound in college when we were done with practice, just shooting from the pitching mound, shooting from center field, doing things just anytime I could, trying to become a better steward as a hunter, as an outdoorsman, and it just grew from there. So it's always been something I'm passionate about. My wife gives me a hard time about it, but I think about it a lot and how I can just be better when it comes to not only just harvesting animals, but providing for them and changing, my personal farm back to kind of what it naturally was and doing stuff with that. So it's not just the hunt itself, it's what's beyond that. And, it's a 365 thing. So
It like encompasses you, doesn't it?
it does. And it's, to say it's an addiction, yeah, it is. But it's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a good thing. And, you can, my kids are into it. My wife's gone with me. I've had so many memories with my grandparents, my dad, my siblings, friends, family. So it's not just going out there and harvesting an animal. There's more to it.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. The camaraderie, overkill.
Oh, for
all
sure.
the time. Yeah. So were you a pitcher in college?
Oh no, I played center field.
Oh, okay.
So I played
All
in the
right.
outfield, center field and left field primarily, and then no, I didn't throw hard enough to pitch.
That's not good. Well, you threw hard enough to throw it from the outfield,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Where'd you go to school?
I played here locally at Lewis and Clark. So
Oh.
I did 2 years there, received my associate's degree in applied science, and went on to chase a professional career within my profession rather than trying to go play baseball more, which I probably should have looking back now.
Right.
Life comes around no matter what you do. So, your adulthood will be there when things are done. So I should have went the last 2 years, but it worked out.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so you left that, and then is that when you got into law enforcement?
Yeah. So I started, I basically worked through almost every position you could have within police work up to the administrative side of it. So I started out as a cadet.
Okay.
I worked dispatch.
Yeah.
I was a part-time officer to a full-time officer. I worked on the street. I was part of a drug division. I ran a canine.
Okay.
We did all kinds of narcotics details and things like that. So I did some investigative work for a while before I got out of it. But I had fulfilled everything that I wanted to do, and timing wise within my personal life, it was just the right time to end that chapter and start something new. So I got to looking and found something. So
yeah, totally understandable. Now with the canine stuff, I mean, how fortunate are you to have that experience when it comes to, I guess, primarily deer hunting around here, right?
yeah. So in some of the conversations that I have with people, when you look at how a dog, and you learn to read a dog and how they smell, their sensory system, their olfactory receptors, everything, that how they can detect different odors.
Yeah.
We look at it as like, for us, we smell a pizza. And the simplest way to explain it was they smell every ingredient that made that pizza. So not only the oils and things that were there to make the dough, the flour and all that stuff, they can smell all of that. They smell every different ingredient that was in the sauce, for the pizza, the sausage, the cheese, whatever's on there, they smell all of that, where we smell one thing, pizza. And they can decipher a ton of different odors at any given time. So that's one thing that I've always been intrigued about, was like, okay, well, I think they have right around 270 million olfactory receptors, and a deer has 300 or close to 300 million. And if I can train my dog to pick up on a human odor and track one individual, how can a deer not be better than that? As far as us on access, scent control, paying attention to wind, things like that. That's all. I look at it way different just based off of my experiences than most people do. I've talked to a couple people about it. One of the local guys we talked about, but I've handled one of his dogs, and he's phenomenal, and just all that conversation and stuff and experience is awesome.
He's talking about local legend Doug Fink.
Oh yeah,
he's the man.
The man.
That's every time I think about like the Fink boys and the tracking, and it's I get so like I can't I'm speechless right now, like the different flashcards that he has with regard to understanding the process and how that, and then watching the dogs work, and then watching him read the dogs and stuff, right. And the fact that you guys whenever that was working together, that's just cool to me.
What's his saying? Trust the nose, right?
Yeah.
And that's in its simplest form, trust the nose, because he doesn't try to steer or navigate the dog in any way. Mm-mm. The dog's trained and understands what his assignment is, and he lets it go to work, and he just reads the body language, the posture changes when he gets in vicinity of where that deer is, the proximity alerts to it. All that stuff is it's attributed to a good handler, and learning from him, and then us bouncing ideas off of each other, from man trailing, which is what I did, or tracking in a sense, to him trailing wounded animals.
Yeah.
We call it fear scent in humans, and they, you have, different scents that wounded animals give off. So,
right.
There's all kinds of different glands and things that produce odor. There's ground disturbance. There's things that your scent cone expands and then dissipates over time, and it's all stuff that when you watch and they're working side to side, they're cutting odors and things that people are like, well, what's he doing? They have no idea. But when you sit back and watch, it's like, that is so impressive. And his process for training is unreal. Most people think that they just buy a dog and have luck with it. No. Not at all.
No.
You're only as good as the time that you put into it.
Yeah. And when you talk about reading the dog, that dog works so hard, and then
his cash is fast too.
Yeah, and then when you get to the animal, all he wants to do is just bite on that thing's butt.
Yeah,
he works so hard to just take it,
yep.
Just bite in. It's a wild deal, but I mean, what a great skill set to have.
Yeah, and what a phenomenal resource we have around here too. And they're not just, Doug's local. He goes all over, and his boys too. But the whole, I forget the organization that they're a part of, but the Trackers Association that they're a part of. They're just trying to do things the right way.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we talked about that I appreciated with Doug from the beginning is he's not there to take your money. Mm-mm. And I don't want this to sound like an ad for him, but he's not there to take your money. He's there to provide a service, explain what he is capable of doing, and then try to gather information from you to make the best of the scenario to try to help you recover the animal or get in there for a follow-up shot. So somebody that asks those questions, say, hey, it's probably a good likelihood that deer is going to survive. Mm-hmm. An honest person is going to say that. Somebody that just wants to run their dog and collect money is going to show up every time. He's trying to get the facts and present them to make sure that it's a best case scenario for success.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
you got to appreciate that with anybody.
Yeah, exactly. That's integrity's top tier.
For sure.
Top tier. All right. So with the hunting here, sounds like deer is your primary.
It for the longest time, deer has been my primary.
Okay.
But man, I get excited about hunting turkeys anymore. And I think it's because, where my personal farm's at, our turkey population is so low. So I'm like, what can I do? I mean, I don't have the biggest parcel out there.
Yeah.
So I trap. When the season's open, we're trapping. And
Yeah.
we're doing everything we can. And the first time I had a hen show up on my farm, I was like more excited about that than some of the deer that I've seen. So it's such a different style of hunting, deer hunting. I mean, we go out west and hunt out there. And when you come back to the Midwest and you go sit in the stand,
Yeah.
when you just came back from being out and like we go to Montana, when you come back from there and get out of a truck and you've got 20,000 acres that you could go walk wherever you want. And you come back here and you're like, sweet, I've got access to 100 acres or 20 acres. Like, I guess I'll go over and sit in a stand and wait for something to show up.
Right.
But turkeys, you could chase them, you call, they call back, and it's a different ball game.
Yeah. I always say that during turkey season, my favorite hunting is turkey hunting. But then once turkey season's over, it's back to deer.
Yeah.
Out west, Montana, deer hunting, what are you chasing, muleys or whitetails?
So we always get a combination tag, and it started out just being there's 4 of us. So we there's a guy from Tennessee.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law is right there on the Missouri and Kansas border. We got another guy in Missouri, and then I'm from Illinois. And we all just get together every other year has been historically what we've done. We've had a couple things pop up where with kids and life and things where you got to miss a year or something, but
yeah,
it's kind of been that, but it's really our off the grid trip. It kind of resets, recharges the batteries, and it's very therapeutic. If we shoot one, great, but we chase mule deer and whitetail out there. We haven't really ventured off in anything else just because we're having too much fun doing that. So
right. So are you what like section? Are you central, west?
So we're in the southeast. We're
Okay.
part of hunting around the Custer National Forest in that area. So we've hunted Nebraska when Montana implemented its new draw system.
Yeah.
We didn't get drawn, so we went to Nebraska, and that was probably some of the toughest hunting I've ever done in the Sandhills.
Okay.
So it was very mentally challenging, not so much physically, but when you think you're a good hunter, go hunt the Sandhills in Nebraska.
All right. I'm going to have to put that on my list. I like that. What was so mentally challenging?
There's not a lot of trees.
Okay.
So you're just looking at rolling hills or things like that where you're looking down in gullies and different ravines and stuff, and it's just like you're looking at the same scenery. And there's deer there.
Yeah.
But you can't find them.
Okay.
And they smell you, they see you way before you ever get close, so it tests your woodsmanship per se. To get close and get one. And typically by day 3 or 4, we're starting to fill tags. But if you're not one of the people filling tags, you're like, this is brutal. So
yeah, I learned on a antelope hunt, pronghorn, speed goat in Wyoming. I kind of got a taste of that, what you're describing, because you're out there, you got tons of acreage. You're trying to figure out, all right, these animals are here. Mm-hmm. What am I doing? And then all of a sudden you're walking, trying to find sign or just a starting point. And then whatever the blow is on an antelope, it's not like a whitetail. You hear that from a long ways away. And all of a sudden you see antelope running off and you're like, well, there were some right there.
Yeah.
They're gone now. Yeah.
That's usually the worst sign that we get is when they're either bounding or they're running away with their tails up. And it's like, man, I didn't even see that one.
Right.
So it humbles you a little bit. And then you come back here and, most of us have our farms set up, either food plots or we know where we're going to be at based on wind directions. And it's a whole different ball game out there. But that's another part that makes it fun.
Yeah. So. I love trips. They're going on a hunting trip. There's no better way to just charge batteries.
Yeah. And it's always been, for whatever reason, one of us during that trip has had something significant change in our lives. So it's just made those trips that much more meaningful. So we get to go out there. There's been a couple of us that have lost a parent. Yeah. So going out there and being around your guys, and you get to go off. We go off. We kind of tell people where we're going. We have an area. Mm-hmm. We typically don't hunt together. We will every once in a while go out like in a 2-man crew, but sometimes we split off on our own. And you wanna isolate yourself and disconnect. Those are the places to do it and kind of recharge yourself. So it's a fun place to be. Yeah. It's been meaningful for us every year, so it's fun.
Absolutely. That's cool. Well, we're going to take a quick break and hear a word from our sponsors. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the WJBM Outdoors Show, brought to you by Midwest Tractor Sales in Jerseyville. We're coming to you from the WJBM studios in Jerseyville, the voice of the Tri-Counties. I'm Aaron Quillen. I operate Monarch Rivers, where the mission is simple: kill big deer. Mike Young of Elite Land and Auction is with us today. We were just talking about how he kind of got started out and a little bit of Mike's background and talking about hunting some muleys in Montana.
That's right.
And Mike, you're in real estate. You've been acting as a broker for how long?
So a managing broker, I got that license when we started Elite.
Okay.
As Illinois, everybody is a broker. It's not like Missouri is different. They're just a licensee over there. But I've been in real estate. This is my 5th full year.
Okay.
So with the Elite, we're on our I guess starting our 2nd full year.
Okay.
You would say, but yeah. So.
All right.
It's around that time span.
So, how did Brad, owner of Elite, how did you guys meet?
So we met through our past brokerage.
Okay.
So he was actually my trainer
okay.
and helped mentor me and lead me through, the waves or the trials of what real estate is. And just, through our experiences where we were at, we realized there was some stuff that we were missing opportunities at, services that we could provide that mm-hmm. really Illinois specifically for me, it was important that we needed to provide that service. We were missing opportunities to help people.
Right.
So, we navigated it as tactfully as possible. Mm-hmm. And, we knew that the time had come that we were going to branch out and start our own thing because it was just the right thing to do. We knew we could do something different. And I think anybody, whether, you're in an entrepreneurship or, you're starting your own business, that's when you can do that and you're kind of being held back in a sense.
Right.
We decided that we all got together, knew that we were all on board. Our mission and our core values were the same, and we wanted to build something that not only we were proud of, our family was proud of, and then anybody that came to be a part of what we are doing would be proud of too. So
that's awesome.
It is. It's been a roller coaster, but it's been phenomenal.
Okay. All right. So more along the lines of with Elite. It's a traditional real estate brokerage. I come from my past, my whole upbringing, and I was around insurance people. So broker clicks for me with insurance.
Right.
So forgive me for that.
That's all right.
With regard to Elite as a real estate brokerage, your traditional brokerage that also does auction.
Correct. Yeah, we offer both, whether it's a traditional listing or the auction service side mm-hmm. of it. We knew that was one big piece that we wanted to be able to provide. Previously, we were just able to offer that traditional listing, and we knew with the auction service, it's kind of navigating towards that online presence only. They may have an auctioneer calling bids online, or it's just a computer that you're pressing the button to place your bid and then it's registered there. But for us, we wanted to keep that personal side of it where you're still allowed to come somewhere. And we typically, like the last auction we had for some tillable ground was in Madison County.
Yeah.
And I always try to put back to the communities that we are in. So where that was at was in Foster Township, Fosterburg. I went in and rented the Fosterburg Town Hall. We held it on site there, and that's typically what we try to do is rent a location back in the community where we're auctioning the property.
Yeah.
So, we do that, and then we have our auctioneer who travels. He comes down and does the in-person bidding. He is one of the best auctioneers that anybody's going to hear, and that's not just me. He just finished number 4 at the International Auctioneer championship.
Fourth place
international out of hundreds of people. So his goal was to make finalists. He thought it'd be cool to finish in the top 5, and he finished number 4. And he's just a phenomenal person. And I think when we chose the name Elite, there was a couple names that were thrown around, and we're like, man, that's a strong name. That's a heavy name. Mm-hmm. But our goal is to be the most elite brokerage out there and offer an elite service for everything that we do, whether it's our marketing, whether it's the traditional listing, whether it's our auction side. Everything that we do, we try to set the bar higher than where we previously came from, where we've been within our brokerage, and that way we're just pushing ourselves every time we do something. So having Matt Hart is his name, but having him on board was just like the final piece that fell in place, that we had no idea who we were going to get. There was a couple of guys that were kind of within the company, went through auctioneer school, and we're like,
right,
they've got some work to do, because when you're trying to start something, you don't want to flop, and your first impression is a big impression.
Right.
And one of our agents up north knew who Matt was, and speaking with him, and it was just a perfect fit, and pieces just fell in place, and he's been an awesome asset to us, and he brings so much to our auction side. But we really try to break it down to what is best for our clients. We're going to present all the details, all the facts, and then make the most informed decision with you moving forward to what best fits your needs to help you achieve your goals.
Okay. And then with regard to traditional marketing, MLS, and showing properties versus an auction, what are some of the highlights as to why you would choose one versus the other?
So for us, our process doesn't deviate a whole lot. Mm-hmm. When we're marketing a property, we're going to market and pull the same levers, whether it's an auction or a traditional listing.
Okay.
It's going to be on the same platforms, as long as each platform allows it. There's some that have different, specifications that you have to fit in order to do it, or it may fall under a different category within that platform. But marketing doesn't change a whole lot, if any.
Okay.
So when we do that and figure out, I think what was the question again?
Auction versus
listing.
Traditional listing.
So for us, it doesn't matter what which one it is. We're still marketing the same. We're still putting out the same amount of signage. We're still getting it in front of the same amount of people. I can't spill all of the beans to the recipe that we have.
Right.
But it doesn't change whether you're doing the traditional listing or the auction side. It just kind of navigates. When you're doing an auction, that if it's an absolute auction, at the end of that day, there's going to be an accepted contract.
Right.
And you're gonna sell the property.
Okay.
We do reserve auctions as well, but we're going to talk to you to try to figure out where that reserve is at, so it can be a reasonable reserve.
Yeah.
Another great thing with us is that we don't offer buyer premiums. We figure everything out with the sellers beforehand. We have everything structured with them, so when buyers are there bidding in person, when that gavel drops and it's sold, they know right then that's what they're paying. There's not extra fees on the back end.
Okay.
So we try to keep it as the old KISS method, keep it simple, right?
Right.
So we try to keep it as simple as possible, but still yield the best results we can for our clients, and make sure that everybody out there that is a ready, willing, and able party can bid and buy the property if they choose to.
Right.
So.
Okay. With regard to what you see out there in the market, sky's the limit with real estate. They don't make any more of it, but essentially there's no limit. You can go within the state of Illinois, or are you licensed in Missouri also?
Yeah, I'm licensed in Missouri as well. Our brokerage is licensed in Illinois and Missouri, so we have the capability to go to both sides, and we're expanding. So we have other states that are targeted states that we're just making sure we find the right people to navigate into those. So
okay. So as basically territory is a bad word for it, I think, but you can go virtually anywhere in this.
Anywhere you're licensed in the state of Illinois or Missouri, you can go.
Right.
So we don't limit our agents to, hey, you know what, you're in Jersey County, so the 4 counties around that are yours.
Right.
If you're in Jersey County and you have somebody that you can help that's 3-4 hours away and you want to help them, have at it. Because at the end of the day, we're a team, and we have other agents that are local, that may be local to that we're going to work together to get it sold for our sellers, whether or not it is my listing as Michael Young under Elite or Brad Fallert's listing we're working together to get it done. So if something happens where I may be showing another farm and we've got an agent close enough, we're going to jump in and get it shown and get it sold. So
Yeah. Okay.
So we don't have territories.
All right. Now, what do you see in terms of the market? Because you're local here. You're in this area. I would say probably most of your listings are, within this general area that we are broadcasting to here at
Correct.
WJBM.
That's right.
And what do you see mostly of? What seems to be the most sought after properties right now?
We like to say that there's a buyer for every inch of dirt.
Right.
Anywhere. So you just have to get it in front of the right people. So for us, it's a challenge that each property, we want to sell it better than what we sold the last one. So as far as like, what are your sweet spots? What are the prime properties right now? The biggest thing that we try to accomplish is making sure that it's priced right. We don't, if it's priced right, it's going to sell. And that's not just giving it away. We're not telling people that, hey, you got to price it here to sell it. This is the sweet spot, and we can sell it whether it is a tillable tract, whether it is a recreational combination farm, if it's a build site, if it's a smaller parcel property. As long as we get the pricing right and dialed in, we can get it sold. And there's buyers for everything. We keep a buyer database that we have people in there where we know who are qualified buyers and looking in the area.
So who's looking for what? And then, okay.
So, I mean, we've seen it where even like our recent tillable tracts, they've sold very well. But there's still, the buyer is still happy at the end of the day. Yeah, they may have paid more than what they would have paid a couple of years, couple now, probably 3 or 4, maybe 5 years ago. Right. But it's still, they're not where they were like, oh, we just got raked over the coals and paid way over for it. They're still happy. The sellers are happy. So tillable tracts are still moving good. Bigger tracts, we can split them up into different track options. So we could do a buyer choice option, or if we're on a auction piece. Yeah. But if we're going to sell it as a whole tract, we can do it that way too. It really is what's going to get the most buyer options out there. And even on like your rec farms, really, those are, depending on, I've sold farms up over 500 acres all the way down to 13 to 5 to 6 acres. So it doesn't matter really. I prefer getting out and getting on hunting properties. But I'm really growing a passion for understanding the farming community. Yeah. I had an older guy one time tell me, it's not dirt, it's soil. Right. It's soil. It means something to us. Dirt sounds like it's just a discarded thing. And I'm like, man, it kind of makes you sit back and think about it. It's like, to some people that probably was insulting, but yeah, exactly. He took pride in what he did. And I'm like, I'll remember that. And then there's other farmers I've talked to, like, it's dirt. So it's, there's so much out there, the farming community. I didn't grow up from a farming background, but I do everything I can to understand what a farmer is looking for in a property, the different access points, whether, the productivity index, the harvest history off of it, if they've got, different maps for it, things of that nature, things that are important for them to make the decision on whether or not they're going to put an offer in or not. And then doing that, it helps me understand what's important in a tillable piece. Right. So, and same thing with a recreational property. As hunters, we all want different access points. We want to know, has it been logged? My perception of logging has changed a ton over the last couple of years. Yeah. Because I used to think logging was a bad thing. You get people that talk about that so much, and it's like, logged it, you lost value. One of my best friends did a pallet lumber harvest on his farm. Okay. His farm is phenomenal. The deer have just blown up on it now because there's so much browse on there. It's released so much that was currently, kind of went stagnant because it had so much overhead. It wasn't allowing sunlight in. Right. So that's changed my perception on that a little bit as far as having a farm logged and then going in and doing all the different habitat stuff on those rec pieces. So they're all fun. It just depends on what opportunity comes to me or Elite, and then how can we package it, show the value of it, and help get it sold for our clients. Okay. Now, I would imagine that there are a lot of people out there that are interested in selling a piece of property. Let's call it rec land, hunting ground. And
they probably have a lot of questions with regard to habitat and stuff like that. What are some of the most common questions that people ask?
From a selling standpoint, I think a lot, it depends on how well versed the seller is. If they've inherited the property or if they grew up on it, if they've done a lot of work on it, those people have different set of questions or visions for how it should be sold or where the value is versus somebody who just got the property and doesn't know anything about it. They haven't been on the farm in 10, 15 years. They don't know what's there. It's just a piece of land. They heard it's worth something, and what can we sell it for?
Right.
So that's where we help try to bring light to the value points on it. And there's things that mean stuff to different people. You know, some people naturally just want a turnkey farm per se. I'm not a huge fan of that word because I feel like people think they can just go put a food plot in and hang some stands and it's a turnkey property. Well, the turnkey is in the perception of the buyer.
Yes.
So
there's a lot of people out there right now that are kind of pushing that stuff in different forms of media.
Yeah. And it just means, you know, to me, it just means, I mean, if it's a turnkey farm, there better be nothing that I have to do to it.
Right. Exactly.
And that's impossible because for me as an outdoorsman, we're constantly evolving. There's things like on my personal farm, it's a trial and error basis.
Right.
I'm doing things that most people, you know, we're in the phase where switchgrass and grasses of that kind are big and everybody wants them. Well, me and a couple of my buddies in our close circle, we talk about it and we just call it dirty. We don't want it to be straight switch. We don't want it to be just one stand of one thing because that's not natural.
Right.
And there's problems within, you know, in our area with just a straight stand of that. So we listen to what's being said out there, and then we try to pull what we think we can use from it and implement it on my own farm and on their farms and things like that. And then we talk about where our success is at because we're all within close proximity to each other, so we can bounce ideas off of us. We may be across state lines or something, but similar sizes and similar interests and goals within our farms are fun to talk about. So
okay, you said something a second ago that I find very interesting. You were talking about hunting ground, that essentially, you know, or rec ground, that it doesn't have to be huge and it can be small. You know, some of these guys are going out there and on some smaller tracks, hunting some pretty impressive deer.
Yeah.
How often are you seeing people? Because I would believe that a lot of people don't think that that's possible. I know different. But right. I would think that a lot of people don't think that's possible. How often do you run into it that people don't quite understand that you can kill big deer or you can kill stud toms on a tract that's not necessarily, you know, it doesn't have to be 150 acres.
Right.
It doesn't have to be, you know, if it's set up well. So how often do you run into that?
So, I mean, for me, it boils down to what I have access to. Personally, I have access to a bunch of, like, my family has a lot of ground over in Jasper and Clay County over on the east side of the state.
Okay.
We've hunted down in southern Illinois, the Shawnee National Forest down there. So I've been all over the state. I've hunted Calhoun a lot. I've helped a couple clients over there with some pretty phenomenal farms. Been able to get permission to go there and hang out with them and see the successes that they're having. But as far as when you're looking at smaller parcels, it's no different than going on a piece of public land and look at all the overlooked spots on public land, because everybody was the craze for the longest time was you got to get off the beaten path. You got to get way back in there.
Right.
Well, how many times have you walked past big deer that are just holding tight somewhere because they know that people are going that way, or an overlooked smaller parcel because everybody thinks you need big tracts to kill deer, big deer.
Yeah.
You can't be naive to the fact that you're not probably housing those deer on there, but understanding the capacity and what that farm's capability is important. Like, I have no doubt, I know my farm is more of a fall farm and it's more of a funnel. So it's a rut farm. When deer are on their feet, traveling, looking for does. But I've also added late season food sources that it's isolated away from everything else. And I have a good thing on mine, which is access. I can come in it with any wind direction.
Yeah.
At any side, north, south, east, or west, I have access. And that goes back to a topic we talked about, being neighborly, right? So those tracks, it doesn't matter. I think a lot of people think you have to have big farms to kill big deer. When you get on those bigger farms, sometimes that's harder to kill big deer and locate them because they're so big.
Right.
On mine, I'm like, I know I have this spot, and I got to figure out where they're coming through or where they like to hang out. But there's like goes right back to there's a buyer for every piece out there. And the great thing about those smaller tracks, a lot of times they're more affordable. Mm-hmm. Not everybody can go out and spend money on an 80 or 100 acre track or even more so. So you can't underestimate the importance of the smaller tracks too and the significance that they have to people. My farm's right at 20 acres. That's the first 20 acres I think's been in my family's name for probably 40 plus years. But before that, who knows how long before that. So it was, it has a lot of meaning to me, and I was super grateful for the people that I bought it from. Mm-hmm. So it's just, it's an awesome, so you can't overlook, to answer your question, you can't overlook the smaller tracks. There's so much potential there. Not everyone's going to be like that, but as hunters, we know location and conditions are huge, right?
Right.
Same thing for tillable tracks. Same thing for any property. There's those important factors out there that are the key first parts, but then when you learn to look past that and see topography, access, how wildlife navigate it, what other potential is there, things of that nature, it's all important.
My personal saying is it takes a thing to make a thing, right? Regardless of how bizarre some saying or whatever something is may be. I sounded like the former presidential candidate right there, but if something worked at some point, it becomes a thing. Mm-hmm. And so it takes a thing to make a thing. And all the years hunting Calhoun, Pike counties, you talk to new hunters and they're asking about, or somebody gets into camp for the first time and they're asking about, different farms and stuff like that. And you're like, well, this farm's only, 70 acres, and they're like, well, I want to go hunt the, 400 acre farm. And you're like, well, not necessarily. Like right now we're kind of focused on this deer right here. We think he's vulnerable. We got the right winds coming in. He's been showing up on the camera, or we've been seeing him, or whatever it is. And people associate sometimes to those larger tracts of ground. And I'm sure that I know that you can, potentially manage more deer on a large tract of ground. Mm-hmm. But also, if you have some smaller farms and they're a little bit more spaced out, you're able to hunt more herds of deer. Mm-hmm. And I'm finally just now, after 20 some years of hunting Pike and Calhoun, I'm just now finally seeing people start to talk about that online. Mm-hmm. And it's just like,
I call them satellite pieces.
That I like that.
Because you have to have them. They're important. You can burn up a farm real quick. That's one thing about mine. I can't hunt it very often.
Right.
So I was thinking about a couple of things when you said that, your expertise of looking at like the reference of the 78 acre farm versus the 400. In that scenario, don't guide the guide. You guys know what's there. You have the information. Mm-hmm. And sometimes the best thing to do is just sit back and listen.
Yes.
And whether I don't care if it's somebody that I may not be favored to, but if they're speaking on a topic, I want to hear what they're having to say. Mm-hmm. Because I can pick something up. We can all learn something at some point in time.
Right.
And I think, when it comes to that stuff, it's interesting when you were talking about a new person coming into camp and having the satellite farms and things like that. It's important because they don't like pressure.
Right.
They have enough going on in their natural life that when you add that human element into it, especially if they're not used to it, it doesn't take much to change. So
yeah, it takes all types, right?
Right.
And then it's like what works for one might not work for the other, but essentially, some of these smaller pieces, you can kill absolutely hammers.
Yep.
Hammers. Get your nice little honey hole. If you got smooth access, you can probably hunt it a little bit more than, if you don't have great access, mm-hmm. you might have to focus on time of year, whatever it is. But man, I've seen it.
Yeah.
I've seen
it.
And
I think one of my points for that whole topic was just don't overlook the small tracks.
Yeah.
So especially from a hunting or recreational standpoint, if somebody owns that, mm-hmm. don't think the price isn't going to be there like a tillable track because it has return on it. But it still is value, and there's still buyers out there that are wanting to buy that. So
Yeah.
it's important.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take another break and hear a word from our sponsors. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the WJBM Outdoors Show, brought to you by Midwest Tractor Sales in Jerseyville. We're coming to you from the WJBM studios in Jerseyville, the voice of the Tri-Counties. I'm Aaron Quillen. I operate Monarch Rivers, where the mission is simple: kill big deer. With us, Mike Young, Elite Land and Auction. We've been talking about a whole bunch of stuff just across the board. I guess primarily keying in on, the environment or market, what's going on with rec ground, some ag ground, and really the ability to kill or harvest big deer, big turkeys on even small tracts. With that being said, at Elite, you probably see all different types of farms, all different types of rec ground, some with homes. Tell me a little bit more about what Elite is good at.
I mean, our ideal clients, they're going to have land, but at the same time, we're not limiting who we are just to selling land. Mm-hmm. Our goal is to provide an elite service. So if you have a home that you're trying to sell, we can help you. Mm-hmm. If you have a commercial property you're trying to sell, we can help you. Mm-hmm. One of our largest sales this year was a rec center, a commercial rec center in Missouri.
Oh, nice.
And it was an awesome experience for us. It was a neat way to get our name out there and associate it with outside of just land, because we can't just limit it to what our name says, Elite Land and Auction. Yes, that is our goal. We all love land. We all come from a background of land hunting, things of that nature. But there's one key thing that we all like to do, and that's to help people and provide the best service that we can. So whether it's homes on acreage, just regular homes, apartment complexes, things of that nature, we've helped a lot of different clients across the board achieve their goals in real estate with all of that. So yeah, it's not just as narrow as the land sounds in our name. So it's more of an elite service to any client that we can help, and it's really a good fit, that. Right?
Yeah, so. Absolutely. I was on the website the other day just looking around, and the things that one of the things that I really liked is it was very value oriented, like values in terms of integrity, helping people. And I found that to be pretty cool. Now, with regard to something else I saw, is it seems to be very team oriented over there at Elite as well.
Yeah. And that's like I kind of hinted towards it a little bit earlier. Everybody here wants to see the person across the table succeed. Mm-hmm. And I'm really excited because we just added 3 females.
Awesome.
3 women that are going to be a part of our brokerage.
Yeah.
They have a background. Some of them have a background in real estate. Some of them don't.
Right.
But what they all have a background in is they love the outdoors and they love helping people. So I'm excited to see that class go through, because I know, especially if they're anything like my wife, they're detail-oriented and they're goal-driven. Mm-hmm. And it's fun to see them thrive in the field that we're working in. So we're growing as a company, but our team is expanding too, to where we're adding different value, different people. They're going to bring different perspectives, and it's only going to help us grow and become a better brokerage and keep growing as a brokerage. So I'm excited about that. Teamwork, a team in itself, that's what we are. Mm-hmm. It takes a lot to be a part of our brokerage, because we take pride in what we have. Mm-hmm. It's just because you have a real estate license doesn't mean you're coming through the door.
Right.
And we want people, when they're holding their license with the Elite, that there's a sense of pride there and that they belong to a team and people, that you're not just a number. Right. You don't just have a license. We're here to help you achieve your goals. We're going to, at some point, need you to help us, and we're going to work together for the common good, and that's to provide the most elite service that we can to people in our areas. So,
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool, man. I love stuff like that. All right. Well, we have just a few minutes left. I want to ask you, your upcoming hunting season, you getting some big pictures right now?
I have a few.
Okay.
I have one that just keeps hanging out in the background. That's another topic. It's trail cameras.
Yeah.
Man, I'm so torn on cell trail cameras. That's a whole nother day we could sit here and talk about them.
Yes.
But I have one
We'll
that
have
just
to do
hangs in the background, and he's not dumb, and he'll look and watch over where the camera's at. It's just like that matriarch doe.
Right.
When she picks you off in the tree, she usually comes back and looks in that same tree. They're not stupid.
Right.
And I'm so torn. There's been times I'm texting within my friends group. I'm like, I'm taking all my cameras down. I don't care, because I get so torn up on it. And then I have cell cameras, so if I don't get any pictures, I'm like disappointed. My wife's like, Deer didn't text you today? So it's like, yeah, man, because they're there. And that's what's crazy about them is they're there. We may not see them, we may not get them on camera, but they're there. And I know I'm in the right neighborhood, and I have good neighbors, and we all get along well and share some information with one another.
Right.
But it's just a good neighborhood. So they're there. It's just a matter of time. But there's one that I'm just like, can you just come a little closer, please? Quit teasing me.
All right. Cool. Well, appreciate you coming out, man.
Yeah.
If you could, please let everybody know how they can reach out to you and Elite.
Yeah, I always encourage people, go check out our website. Because just like our marketing, we're trying to do everything we can to make it a top tier website. It's super user friendly, because we understand that our audience is a wide variety age wise. So we want to keep it simple. Get on there, check it out. You can look at our website. You can get on social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram. Some of us have LinkedIn accounts. We have Google accounts, so you can look on there for Google reviews.
Yeah.
But just search Elite Land and Auction,
Okay.
and you'll find us. Our home office is in Bethel, Missouri, but I always like to remind people, we have local agents right in your backyard.
Yeah.
So just because you see that Bethel, Missouri, there's people in Illinois that are right here in your backyard that know the markets and know how to help you achieve your goals. So don't hesitate to reach out on any of those platforms. All of our phone numbers are on there. You can click on the agent section and find agents that are right in your backyard. There's a bio on there for them, so you can get a little bit of background for who's in your neighborhood, and then just pick the best fit for you.
Cool. All right. Well, hey, thanks again, man. I'm so glad you came out and had a great time.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Great opportunity.
Thanks, man. See you.
Thanks.